Hi, it's Lerald, and the Midnight Alpha is nearly upon us, so we thought this would be a perfect time to talk more about what we hope to see from Blizzard for the classes we like. This time it's Protection Warrior. I like playing it, Sunset likes healing it. There we go. That's about all you need for a video intro, right? Right, it's Prot Warrior time. So let's get into it, but first be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join our Discord as well, we're over 1,300 members, it's still growing, so come join our community and talk about Midnight with us. Alright, let's start with a bit of background on Prot Warrior in the War Within. And even before, really, there is a belief about warriors in the tanking community. When warrior is good, tanking is good. When warrior is bad, tanking is bad. I absolutely buy into this idea 100%, and it's being proven right now. Warrior is very good right now. And it's not really a huge surprise that all of the tanks in the game feel pretty fun to play right now, even the ones that aren't as strong. It's also no surprise that Warrior is the most popular tank in the game. It's #1 in raids, and #1 in Mythic Plus. It is just dominating the field. It's tanky, it deals great damage, it's easy to play, and it is fun. But that doesn't mean that there's no need for change, or no reason to hope for good things to happen to the class, right? It doesn't have to be bad in the future just because it's good in the present. And Warrior wasn't always a top dog either. In Seasons 1 and 2 of The War Within, it only had usage rates of like 16 or 17%, with Prot Paladin and Vengeance Demon Hunter sucking up all of the oxygen in the room for those two respective seasons. Now, for what it's worth, that still put it in the top half of classes in terms of popularity in Mythic Plus. You know, when it's bad, it's real bad, and Warrior thankfully hasn't been real bad, but right now, at the peak of popularity in this expansion, it's just about tied with Prot Paladin, where in the past couple of seasons, it was 1/4, 1/5 as popular as Prot Paladin was when it was at its apex. So because Warrior is currently very good, not insane, but very good, let's focus on the things that we want to see more of in Midnight, rather than only locking in on things that we want to see fixed. With that being said, there are a couple of things that probably do just need to be fixed. Those will be in there as well. Alright, let's start with the most important thing for Warrior: damage. Warrior is popular and fun right now because it deals a lot of damage. Some of that comes from the talent update in patch 11.2, which made execute talents a lot more usable and just kind of fixed a lot of problems with the talent tree. But most of the reason that Warrior's damage is good currently is that the current Warrior tier set bonus is really good. That tier set will go away at the end of this expansion, and if Warrior isn't capable of dealing good damage, its popularity is going to fall off a cliff. Damage can often fall really hard at the start of a new expansion, and we really don't want to see that. Warrior doesn't bring amazing group utility or best-in-class crowd control, so damage and tankiness is really all that it has. Tankiness is good, but tankiness alone won't get the job done, just ask a Bear Druid. So damage really needs to remain competitive at the start of the next expansion in order for Warrior to remain a reasonable, respectable choice. Alright, issue number 2, kind of related, rage generation right now. As Mountain Thane feels great, the current tier set gives a bunch of procs that directly result in more rage generation and more bursts of power, which allows you to cast Shield Slam back to back to back. This also allows for more rage generation. Haste values are very high right now, Warrior feels great. There is a concern that at the start of a new expansion, haste values are going to be terrible, rage generation is going to be in the toilet, and Warrior's going to feel bad to play as a result. This is directly related to the damage output issue as well. They're kind of two sides of the same coin. So the way to really tie these two ideas together is just to raise the floor for rage generation for Warriors. The best way to do that is probably just to bring forward some of these successful ideas from the current tier set in the form of new hero spec talents. We are supposed to receive 3 new talents for each hero spec in Midnight, and if the Mountain Thane one's aligned with the current tier set, that would be really awesome. It would keep Warrior's rage generation respectable in the coming tier, or in the coming expansion, even with the loss of haste values, and it would keep their damage up as well. Simple, effective, feels good, 100% approved. Alright, so up next is something that is a little bit of an issue, something that's not working as well right now, and that is the Colossus hero spec. Colossus did perform well in Season 2 because the tier set was suited to it, but generally speaking, it has been the weaker alternative to Mountain Thane throughout the expansion, and actually by quite a lot. It is a significantly weaker choice. It also feels worse to play, in addition to being numerically weaker, because Mountain Thane gets a ton of rage generation bonuses, and Colossus gets pretty much nothing. It gets 3 more rage on every shield slam. That's it. The obvious fix here is just to give Colossus more rage generation, and as that what we think should happen? Yeah, sometimes an idea doesn't need to be clever in order to be good, and that's exactly what's going on here. Colossus Warrior needs more rage. Both hero specs do good things. They're different things. Mountain Thane clearly is better at what it does than Colossus is at what it does, and the fix for Colossus is just to give it more rage so it's a little bit more like Mountain Thane. Maybe that could come in the form of a lot more Shield Slam resets. That seems like a better idea. That is sort of more like the Season 2 tier set model, and it is probably the most fun way to do it. Certainly more so than the current tier set, which just kind of gives you more damage. Pretty boring, and it still wouldn't feel exactly like Mountain Thane either, so it would still have its own unique spec identity built around a cool offensive cooldown, Demolish, that does a lot of damage, does a lot of burst damage, but actually has a respectable, usable amount of rage to it rather than just sort of feeling like you're kind of half AFK a lot of the time that you're playing the spec, which is not something that anybody wants. Alright, next up is something that Blizzard has done well thus far in this expansion, and that would be Simplicity. They replaced Ravager with a passive bonus that effectively does the same thing as Ravager, but uses a random proc that doesn't require a keybind. This was a really good move. Right now, Warrior is in good shape keybind-wise. It has a lot of keybinds, it's kind of at the limit, but it's not over the limit. With the plan being to add in new skills with the new Apex talents, that could be a problem. So merging skills together or allowing for passive damage alternatives is a really good idea. They could do this with Thunderous Roar, or Shield Charge, or Demo Shout. The idea of playing Colossus Warrior with Demolish and all of the existing Warrior offensive cooldowns, and a new Apex talent on top of all of that, sounds like a lot for most players to handle. So the fix here is really simple. They just kind of need to passivize one of the skills that currently exists for Warrior as sort of a larger cooldown, turn it into something that can function as a passive, even just make it a choice node. That could prevent any sort of potential issues from Keybind Bloat, which is really becoming an issue with WoW across the board. Alright, next on the wish list is CC, stuns. Being able to lock down packs of enemies with AoE crowd control and knockbacks feels very strong. It's one of the best feelings of player power that tanks have available other than just doing a lot of AoE damage, and Warrior is reasonably good at crowd control right now. It has really easy access to Disrupting Shout for an AoE interrupt, it has Shockwave, Stormbolt, and Shield Charge. These are all good CCs in their specific niche, but they could have just a little extra stank on them. And on that note, Earthquaker, a commonly taken talent for Colossus, which is a not commonly used hero spec, gives Shockwave a knock-up effect. It feels really awesome. It's kind of a crowd control that exists outside of stun diminishing returns. It's probably the thing that I personally enjoyed most about playing Colossus during all of Season 2 of the War Within, as dumb as that is to say, not the giant offensive cooldown or the huge amounts of burst damage. Really, it was just like, pretty cool to hit Shockwave and have stuff bounce up in the air. Making that kind of a bonus be available to both hero specs would feel really good. It doesn't have to be that specifically, but something similar, such as a knock-up or a knock-down effect. That's something they haven't really used for players in a long time. And associating that with Stormbolt for Mountain Thane, so it's thematically similar, and doing that rather than the current very bad 2-target cleave that Mountain Thane warriors get on their Stormbolt talent would be a great improvement. This is a pretty small ask. We're just talking about getting a little bit more crowd control, or a little bit more interesting crowd control, but it would feel quite a lot better as a prot warrior to really be able to just put one enemy into crowd control prison than to uselessly diminish stuns for the rest of the group whenever you try to hit one thing with Stormbolt. And we've kind of saved the best for last here. Let's talk about Warrior's group utility. So there's stuns and crowd control. Those are good, but we already covered them. The rest of the group utility for Warrior is Rallying Cry, which is fine, it doesn't need to change, and Battle Shout, which is kinda bad. We still dislike the buff-debuff matrix. It is a bad idea executed poorly. But if Blizzard took it away, if they followed our advice and they got rid of all of the different buff-debuff matrix components, what would Warriors have in return? Why even bring them to groups at all? The simple answer is Bloodlust. It's time for another class in this game to bring Bloodlust, and Warrior is the class that should do it. I've been arguing for many years now that all tanks should have Bloodlust, but despite the fact that at the start of every dungeon people ask me when to Bloodlust, Paladin and DK probably don't need that extra layer of group utility, if we're being real. But Warriors do, and that shouldn't just stop at prot warriors either. We love DPS warriors too, and all warriors could use real group utility, and since Blizzard is just keeping Bloodlust around and tuning around the idea that groups will have it, and that they won't use drums, it's time to just let warriors yell at their groups so loud that everyone fights better for the next 40 seconds. So that's it. It would be pretty fun to be able to scream at your team and make them fight better. It's the #1 request we have for Warrior. It's the thing that we both like the most. Genuinely, let Warriors Bloodlust. And that pretty much covers it. Warrior is in really good shape right now, and we don't want to see it lose its step in Midnight. It's good for the game when Warrior is good, it's fun to play, and that's kind of it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and join the Skipping Sleep Studio Discord and become part of our community. And finally, thank you to all of our channel members. If you want to support us so we can keep making more WoW content, become a channel member, or come boost our Discord. Thanks for watching. Bye.